In this video, I will invert a negative film scan in the color page of DaVinci Resolve. This works with the free version of Resolve and takes advantage of the new photo page. If you're new to either DaVinci Resolve or the photo page, please check the links in the description for other videos that will teach you the basics. Let's start by creating a project and importing your scan by clicking and dragging it into the media pool. I'm using images that were shot on Kodak Ultramax at the Houston Space Center. Head to the photo page. Before you can edit a photograph in the color page, it must be added to an album. Select all the images and create a new album. First, let's rotate these images so they have the correct orientation. Don't use the rotation angle control. That's for fine adjustments. You want to use these buttons instead. Now that's better. The image is correctly orientated. There's hotkeys to do this as well. If you're using the DaVinci Resolve default hotkey presets, it's Command or Control, and then the left and right square brackets. If you're using your own keyboard customization, you might have to assign these hotkeys. Just search for Photo Rotate. I'm not going to crop them yet because the unexposed parts of the negative can be useful when balancing the photo. Head to the color page. There's different workflows and different tools you can use, and I have no doubt that clever people will already be working on DCTLs and OpenEffects plugins to streamline this work. Here's our current quick and dirty workflow. First, invert the image. You can do that with a custom curve, but we're going to use the invert tool and effects. To keep my node tree neat, I will label each node. I'll make a new serial node using this button and label it. I have the custom curve tool open. You'll want it open as well. I have my histogram set to show me the input histogram. That means it won't change as I use the tool. You can clearly see that the red, green, and blue records are not balanced. That's visible in the parade as well. In a color negative, the red, green, and blue sensitive layers often record different intensities. This is because they are separate layers in the film stack. Light is partially absorbed as it passes through. The film is balanced for a specific color temperature, and different film stocks have different spectral sensitivities. And finally, the film's orange mask affects how the image is interpreted during scanning, further influencing the balance of the resulting RGB values. It's possible to use clever techniques like color charts to proceduralize this process, but there will always need to be some human intervention. We'll switch briefly to the histogram. If you click on the triple dot menu, you can enable a feature called Display Qualifier Focus. In the viewer, if I equip the qualifier tool, you can see it allows me to analyze the image. The unexposed negative outside of the frame will be the darkest thing in the frame. In the histogram, that's represented by the bump on the far left of each channel. That histogram is mirrored in the center curves panel. So let's switch the scopes back to the RGB parade. We'll adjust each curve individually to balance the image and expose it properly. Let's start with the Y channel, otherwise known as luminance. You can see from the histogram that this scan is overexposed as the Y channel sits towards the right of the histogram. That will be affecting the contrast in the image and the intensity of the colors. We can raise the black point on the image by moving the leftmost point of the Y curve until it sits right in the middle of that first bump. We can reliably use this lump to configure our curve, as we know the outside of the image should be neutral and black. Let's do the same for the R, G, and B channel, moving their start point to that first lump in their respective channels. Setting each color channel to begin in the same place balances the separate color channels. That's made a huge difference to the image, but there's still evidently some work to be done. We think that the photo page is going to bring a lot of new users to DaVinci Resolve. When you have a job to do, you learn the skills you need, but that typically means you'll end up with lots of holes in your knowledge. To work effectively, you need to understand DaVinci Resolve's core functionality and how to join all those features together that have been in Resolve for years and years into a workflow that helps you to create. It's easy to get excited about all of DaVinci Resolve's brand new AI features. They are really cool, but in reality, they're really easy to use and are additional tools. So we made a course that teaches you the critical fundamentals of using DaVinci Resolve. It features over 52 lessons, more than 12 hours of exclusive tuition, and we're here to help you through it. It's called DaVinci Resolve for Editors, and it has helped hundreds of people to master DaVinci Resolve. Maybe it can help you too. There's more information about it in the description, and it's on offer right now. Check it out. There's too much green in the shadows. We'll add a control point to lower the amount of green in the shadows. And the highlights are lacking warmth, so we'll add a control point to add red in the highlights, and a control point to reduce blue in the highlights. There's more that could be done to fine-tune the curve to reveal the most accurate possible image. Elegant curves with just a few points are the best way forward. But for the sake of this demonstration, we'll call it good for now and move on. This scan is quite noisy. That's not necessarily a quality of the film that was used. It's a 400 box speed film, but Leon processed it at home and his temperatures aren't always precise. Or it could be noise introduced by the scanner. We can use DaVinci Resolve to remove some of that noise. Obviously, this is to taste. We're going to try and remove the scanning noise and leave just the film grain. It's best to do noise reduction in your first node. So I will add a serial node at the beginning by selecting the first node and hitting Shift S. That's the hotkey to add a serial node before the currently selected one. Head to the Motion Effects panel. Do note, this is a studio feature. It's the only studio feature we are demonstrating on this film conversion. If you'd like to learn more about noise reduction in Resolve, please watch the video in the description. Temporal noise reduction isn't available because it relies on analyzing adjacent frames. And this isn't a video clip, so there are no before or after frames to analyze. I'll use spatial noise reduction. Set it to AI Ultra NR. I'm going to zoom in on the viewer so I can see the difference better, and hit Analyze. Awesome, that looks good. But because we like the look of grain, I'll reduce the lumen noise reduction to 1 and increase the chroma noise reduction to 10. That gets rid of all the nasty color noise and just leaves us with the black and white grain that we love. That color neg inversion that we've done can now be copied to other scans in this album using your method of choice. I'm using the middle mouse button. I'll select all these other shots from the Space Center and then middle click on the graded clip. Look, the grade has been copied. It works awesome on this shot, which was also captured inside, but it's going to need adjusting for these outside shots because they were captured in a different color temperature. A further adjustment to the blue channel does the trick. Once you're done with your color grading, head back to the photo page to give the images their final crop. The cropping controls are found here within the inspector. You can also enable cropping controls in the viewer using this button. You can do an unconstrained crop like this, but as this is 35mm film, you might want to use the 3x2 crop preset within the inspector. Yes, it's definitely possible to use DaVinci Resolve for converting film scans. We're looking forward to seeing further film workflows developed. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and consider sharing it with a friend. And make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss out on future videos. Thanks for watching.